so welcome. Today I'm going to teach you how to take a professional looking headshot with just your phone. There are 3 different components to this that we want to make sure that we get right, just to make sure that you're getting the highest quality you possibly can while using just your front-facing camera. So the first thing is your setup. Now we have this professional looking setup here that we would use in studio, but you're not going to have this equipment. So what's the first thing we're going to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to pop over to that window just over there. So why are we moving over by the window? Well, we want to use the biggest light source that you have available to you, that we know you have access to. You don't have all these big fancy lights in your house. We want to use a light source that is going to create beautiful, even lighting on your face to be as flattering as possible. Now, one thing you want to remember is when you are choosing your window, wherever it may be, you want to choose a window that doesn't have direct sunlight coming in, because that's going to create really harsh shadows, really harsh lines, and it might make some of the part of the image too bright. So that's one thing to remember. We want a window that's nice and what's called diffused lighting, something that's really soft. Right now we've got good cloud cover today, so we're getting a lot of this soft lighting coming in so that when I take my photo, it's going to be really beautiful, filling in any lines, anything like that, to be sure my image looks as crisp and professional as it can. Now from here, what we're going to do is going to seem kind of counterintuitive, but we're going to turn our overhead lights off. Now, why we're going to do that is because it stops us from getting this really kind of weird mixture of colors in the lighting. We're only going to be using the light from this window. It's going to stop any of this bright fluorescent overhead light from making me look too washed out, making me look a little too yellow, anything like that. So from here, we're going to choose our favorite position, our favorite angle. Now, you may already know what your favorite angle is. You can take a look in the mirror, or you can take a bunch of test shots to see, oh, I know that I'm liking this body position more than the other body position. Now, I know for me, I prefer the left side of my face, so I'm going to be sure to angle my body in that direction. That means I'm going to take my toes, and I'm going to point my toes this direction, so to the right a little bit, and then I'm going to take my phone, I'm going to take my camera, in the hand of the side that I like. So, this is assuming also that you don't have someone to help you. If you have someone to help you, then we're going to do both hands together. But because we're doing this by ourselves, we're going to do this with the phone in our hand right here. Now, you might wonder what we're going to do with this hand, with the hand that's not doing anything. Now, this is my dominant hand, so we're praying for this one over here that I won't drop my phone. But with our dominant hand, we're just going to hold the hand just over the belly button, just like this. And the reason we're going to do that is because it's going to give a nice line to the back of your shoulder, especially if you're wearing a suit, especially if you're wearing a nice blouse that needs to have good posture. You want to be sure that the shoulders are really in a good position. And without having to think about it too much, because if you think about it too much, things can sometimes get stiff and tense. We're just going to take the hand like this, and we're going to hold it just across the stomach, just like that. So then, I'm just going to position myself right here, and I'm going to do a soft closed mouth smile. We're going to talk all about expression in just a second, but I just want to show you the lighting here. So we're going to do a soft closed mouth smile just for me. I'm also going to be sure that my hair is sitting really nicely. Now I know it's winter right now, and I have pretty crazy hair, but if you don't pay attention to this, it's going to be the thing that drives you crazy. You're going to see it, and you're going to say, oh my goodness, I really wish that I would have adjusted my hair. Or if you're sending us the image, then you might find that we can't adjust for hair as easily. So I'm going to do a nice closed mouth smile right here, just nice and relaxed. Perfect. Now, you might wonder what we're doing for the background. For me here, I'm just going to blur out this background, but you could do a couple of different things. A nice recommendation that we have is if you have spare poster board lying around, anything like that, or if you have a window that backs up, that faces a wall, you can use something like that, any color that you'd like to. Usually you want to go for something in the grays or maybe the darker blues, just to set up right behind you to give yourself a little pseudo studio. And that's going to make sure that you can preview the images on the backgrounds that you're liking. Now, if you don't have this option available to you, let's say you got info from your boss that you need a headshot yesterday. A good way to kind of mitigate that is you can either use portrait mode, where you're going to blur out the background, or you can actually send us the image, and we can change the background into something like a flat background, like one of those grays or blues, or we can actually blur out that background for you, so you don't have to immediately shoot in portrait mode. Now let's turn the lights back on and talk a little bit more about positioning and expression. These are two things that are really important for setting up a really good headshot. So let's talk about positioning as well. I know we had our hand across our stomach just here, and I know we pointed the toes a little bit to the right, but we also want to dip the shoulder slightly. So what that's going to look like is something like this. We're going to dip the shoulder, but we're going to hold the hand up a little higher. That helps to be sure that the shoulder is coming towards the camera. It really slims the jawline. We can also push the nose forward if we're worried about a double chin, anything like that. That's really going to help to be sure that you feel really approachable and friendly in your image. Now, how do you get a really natural expression? Well, I like to give prompts for the expression that I'm going for. If you're going for an open mouth smile, and you also might find that you're more comfortable with one or the other, or you need something more formal in the other based on your job. So I like to give a couple of different prompts. My favorite one for open mouth smiles is thinking about your favorite person bringing you your favorite dessert. That always gets big smiles in the studio. And then for closed mouth smile, we actually like to keep a little bit of motion. And what I mean by that is keeping a little bit of a nod, almost like you're listening or you're interested. For these ones, I like to think of something that is perhaps a little bit softer, a little bit more sentimental. So your favorite vacation spot, your favorite memory with your favorite person. And it's something like this, your position and everything here. We're going to do the hand just across the stomach again. We're going to just down here, and we're going to go for a nice soft nod. Just like that. And I'm going to be taking a series of images while I do this, just to be sure that I'm getting some really good, clear, crisp, awesome images with an expression that I really like. Now let me show you what happens if we take an image, let's say with a window behind us and all of these lights on. You're going to find that the image is so much less flattering, that the lighting is so much less pretty than the lighting from the window, because you're going to have these dark circles under the eyes, you're going to have dark shadows. So I'm just going to adjust my hair here. That's also really important. With any elements that you're working on, now of course I like this left side, so I'm going to turn this way, but with any elements that you have in the image, you want to be sure that they're sitting properly too. Any glasses that you might have, we want to be sure that we're not getting too much glare. If we are, we can angle the glasses downwards a little bit, and that's going to help to adjust any glare. We can also take some images with the glasses and without, so that if you're retouching with us, then we can pull that glare out. But I'm going to just reposition my hair here, going to make sure that's looking great, going to make sure that my clothes are all in place, that I've gotten a lint roller, that I don't have any cat hair on me, anything like that. And I'm going to do a quick closed mouth smile here as well, just to show you why we don't like the overhead lighting so much. So I'm going to do a nice soft nod again. I'm going to push my hair back in place. My hair is all over the place today. It's so dry and cold, so we're going to do this nice closed mouth smile just here. I'm going to do another one. Always take a few at a time, just to be sure that you've got ones that are really crisp and clear, nothing with a little bit of motion. The motion is great when you're moving a little bit, but we just want to take a lot of them in kind of a burst mode so that you've got a good selection to choose from. And so that's what this image is going to look like. It's a lot less pretty than the one in front of the window with the lights off. So what are some final things you want to remember to get the best possible headshot from home? Well, the first is that we don't want to be using a flash either on the front-facing camera or the back-facing camera if you have someone helping you. That's going to create a lot more shine on the face. It's going to create this kind of unnatural feel, and it's just going to interfere with the lighting that we've already set up with the window. This natural light that we've already gone out of our way to make sure it's not direct sunlight, it's the right time of day, maybe we've set up a backdrop. We want to be sure that we're really using just that natural light. And the second is what we're wearing. We want to be sure that the clothes are sitting really beautifully and that we're wearing mostly solid colors. A little bit of pattern, especially in a tie, is okay, but we want to be sure that the shirt, especially under lapels or blouse, is sitting really flat. It's something that's going to be really tricky. It's going to be really annoying. It's the most annoying thing that we deal with in studio, but it makes all the difference when you're looking at the professionalism of the image, and it makes it easier to edit if you're sending it to us or if you're editing it yourself. It's something you don't have to worry about. We mentioned it before, but you want to be sure that hair and everything is in the right place. Everything's sitting really beautifully. You don't have too many flyaways. You especially don't have too much across the neck. That can be really distracting. And then finally, there may be things that you see in your image that you feel uncomfortable about, that you might be self-conscious about. Let's say a double chin, or you might have one eye that's bigger than the other. Now, a double chin, you can use a very specific little called positioning. You can either hold the camera up higher, especially if someone that you're working with, or we can do hands together just like this. We'll dip the shoulder and we're gonna just push the nose forward. It's gonna feel really strange, it's gonna feel really awkward, but it's gonna just give you that nice line to the chin, that nice structured jawline that's gonna smooth everything down a little bit more. And then also, you might find that you don't like one side of your face or the other. You can just try different angles, either pulling the chin up, chin down. If you see that you have one eye that's bigger than the other, what we tend to do here in studio is we'll put the bigger eye towards the camera. If that's something that you're really self-conscious about. I know that seems quite strange because you think that it should be the opposite and with forced perspective, but by putting the bigger eye towards the camera, it's going to even things out optically, and in your mind, you're going to see things as nice and even and in place. Again, you also want to be sure, we talked about glasses before, you want to be sure the glasses don't have too much glare. If you're wearing glasses, you can actually just tip them up, angle them just a little bit, or if you're able to pop the lenses out, you can do that too. Again, you can also do some with and without if you're editing with us. So those are our biggest tips for how to take photos at home. If you have any questions at all, you can always email us, and you can also send us your images if you'd like suggestions on backgrounds and if you'd like any help with background replacements. We are here to